I was rinsing out my coffee mug when the message came in. A simple, two-sentence email that split my world clean in half. Thank you for allowing her to fully surrender. She's finally reached the depth we've been working toward. Rail asterisk. At first, I thought it was spam. Some yoga retreat newsletter I forgot to unsubscribe from. But the name Rail scraped something in the back of my memory. I'd heard it before. Once, maybe twice. And always when my wife, Alina, had just gotten back from those weekend inner work retreats she'd started attending last fall. I stood there, dish towel still in hand, rereading the message. Fully surrender, we've been working toward. What the hell was this? I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Alina and I had been through a lot, but cheating, that wasn't her. We'd been married 6 years, built a life. Mortgage, matching toothbrush cups, shared playlists, grocery lists. Real stuff. Still, I couldn't stop the cold coil tightening in my gut. She was out at that exact moment on another one of those retreats. Upstate. No signal, she said. No phones allowed. A digital detox, she'd smiled, brushing her hand against my jaw, kissing me like we were still new. But now all I could think of was that kiss. Was it real, or was it guilt disguised as affection? That night I didn't sleep. I laid on our bed staring at the ceiling, the silence stretching between every heartbeat like it might snap. I read the email again, then again. Eventually I opened her laptop. I wasn't proud of it. I'd never snooped before. I wanted to trust her, but something inside me had already started dying. Her inbox was clean, too clean, suspiciously clean, but I found the backups, buried in the cloud like whispers trapped in amber. And there it was, a thread of emails from a contact saved as Soul Anchor. The first message was dated 5 months ago. I can feel your fire, Alina. It's been trapped under years of masculine shame. Let it burn through the layers. The others got worse, intimate, graphic, emotional. Every line felt like a dagger crafted from trust, twisted slowly into my ribs. He talked about her body like it was sacred territory he was guiding her through. About her past trauma, her inner child, her womb wisdom. Stuff I'd never heard her say aloud, stuff I didn't even know she believed in. But what destroyed me, truly shattered me, was the video. She had sent it, or maybe he had. I don't even know how it ended up in the drafts folder, unsent. But it was there, 38 minutes long. Grainy, candlelit, pillows on the floor. Alina naked, sobbing into this man's chest while he whispered affirmations into her hair and called her goddess. Then they kissed, long, slow, not lustful. Worse, it was tender. Intimate in a way I hadn't seen from her in years. When the video ended, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, completely hollowed out. Like someone had scooped the inside of me and left the shell blinking at a screen. I thought back to the last few months, the way she'd seemed. Different, softer, yes, but distant. Like she was walking through the same rooms, wearing the same clothes, but her soul had drifted somewhere else. I remembered the night she came home glowing, said she felt seen for the first time in years. I thought she was talking about our dinner conversation, that stupid pasta I'd made from scratch, but she was talking about him. My wife had given her body, her vulnerability, her grief, her joy, everything to another man. And not just any man, a man who called himself a Tantric shadow guide. A man with a bun and beads and a ing PayPal link for energy exchanges. I was humiliated. Furious, but beneath all that, I was lost. I didn't know who I was without her, or worse, who I'd been all along thinking she was mine. I didn't confront her the moment she came home. Instead, I watched. She came through the door barefoot, humming. Her eyes had that distant glow again, like she'd just returned from a dream she didn't want to wake up from. She kissed my cheek absent-mindedly, dumped her canvas bag by the door, and floated into the kitchen like she belonged to the air more than to this house. "Did you miss me?" she asked, not even looking at me as she opened the fridge. I studied her profile, how she tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, the little freckle at the corner of her collarbone that I used to kiss every morning without fail. "I missed us," I said carefully. She smiled without turning around. "You're sweet, but you've been distracted lately, too, you know." I didn't answer. She was doing it again, flipping the script, making my grief feel like guilt. Over the next few days, I tested the waters. Asked quiet, open-ended questions. How was the retreat? Did anything feel different this time? Who all was there? Each answer was wrapped in poetic vagueness. She said things like, "We did soul excavations." There were so many divine masculine presences, but nothing like you. Rail says I've cracked open a layer I didn't even know I had. Rail, there it was again. The name tasted bitter in my mouth. I wanted to scream. I wanted to shove my phone in her face and ask, was this excavation before or after you let him inside you? But I didn't, I couldn't, because if I said it out loud, it would be real. And I wasn't ready for that yet. Instead, I began preparing. Not for revenge, not even for confrontation, just for clarity. I started therapy. The irony didn't escape me. I was in therapy for the fallout of my wife's spiritual healing. My therapist, Rebecca, was a sharp woman in her late 50s. No incense, no mantras, no bullshit, just questions that cut like scalpels. When was the last time you felt safe in your marriage? Do you feel like your voice matters to her? Are you still trying to earn love that should have been freely given? Those questions haunted me longer than her answers ever could. Meanwhile, Alina was evolving in real time. She wore silk now, spoke slower, lit sage and left crystals in our bedroom corners. Our sex life, which had once been passionate, messy, human, was now an orchestrated ritual. She'd whisper phrases like, "Open your heart gate and let the divine in." I didn't know whether I was supposed to be her husband or her acolyte. Then one night, she invited me to attend a couple's circle. "Rael will be facilitating," she said, like it was the most natural thing in the world. I blinked at her. "You want me to meet him?" She smiled. "I think it would be healing for both of us." Healing, that word again. She had no idea I knew, or maybe she did, and this was her way of testing if I'd fold or fight. I told her I'd come. I wanted to look him in the eyes. I needed to see the man who'd guided my wife through layers of awakening that excluded the man she built her life with. When we arrived, the place was exactly what I imagined. Low lighting, cushions on the floor, ambient droning music, a room full of whispering couples and wide-eyed seekers. And then he walked in. Rael. He was younger than I expected. Maybe mid-30s, lean with the kind of presence that didn't need volume to dominate a room. Long hair tied back, linen clothes, barefoot, of course. He greeted everyone with a bowed head and open palms. Then he got to us. "Elena," he said warmly, "it's beautiful to see you again." Then he turned to me. "You must be David." His eyes locked onto mine, calm, unshaken, as if he already knew everything about me. As if I were the outsider, and in that moment I saw it. The flicker in Alina's face, the blush, the slight intake of breath. It was real, all of it. She loved him, or worshipped him, or something. Something she hadn't given me in years. And suddenly, standing there in that sacred little circle, I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just the man who paid the bills while someone else untangled her soul. The session began with silence. Rael sat cross-legged in the center of the room, eyes closed, hands resting gently on his knees. Everyone else followed suit, as if this man radiated a gravitational pull none of them could resist. I tried to mimic the others, closed my eyes, breathed, focused, but every inhale felt like swallowing glass. His voice broke the silence like a warm blade. "Welcome, tonight we will hold space for truth, for pain, for the sacred breaking open of the walls between us." Alina shifted beside me. Her knee brushed mine. I didn't move. My body was present, but my spirit had retreated somewhere cold and quiet. Rael guided us through what he called mirror work. Couples sat facing each other, knees touching, eyes locked, holding silence for 3 full minutes. I stared into Alina's eyes, and for the first time in a long time, I realized I couldn't read her. Her gaze was open but unfamiliar, like staring into someone else's dream. We were told to share one truth we'd been withholding. Alina went first. "I felt like a ghost in our marriage," she said softly, her hands trembling in mine. "Like I had to be perfect just to be tolerated. I buried my desires. I made myself small. I don't want to live like that anymore." It hit me like a brick, not because she was wrong, there had been distance, but because I'd tried, for years. I'd asked her what she needed. I'd shown up. I worked late so she could start her business. I planned our anniversary trips when she forgot the date. I held her through panic attacks. I thought that was love. I didn't realize it had made her feel invisible. And yet, she hadn't said any of this to me. She de-said it to him. Rael's voice came next. "Truth spoken is love embodied," he said. "Now, David, your turn." My mouth was dry, my fingers numb. I looked at my wife, the woman I thought I knew, and I saw someone who'd already left me a long time ago. "My truth," I swallowed. "My truth is that I read your emails." The room fell still. Even the ambient hum seemed to pause. Alina blinked. Her lips parted. She looked wounded but not surprised. "I saw the video," I added. "I know what happened." A murmur rippled across the group, but Rael didn't flinch. Alina pulled her hands back from mine, her voice barely a whisper. "You weren't supposed to see that." I almost laughed. That was her concern. "I wasn't supposed to know," I said louder now, "that you were having a full-body, heart-soul-psyche affair with this man, that you cried in his arms while he touched you like I haven't been allowed to in months." Rael raised a hand. "Brother, let's take a breath. Don't you ********** call me brother," I snapped. My voice sliced the room like a scalpel. He exhaled, calm, patient. Like I was the child throwing a tantrum while the adults waited it out. "This isn't betrayal, David," Alina said softly. "This was healing. It wasn't about sex, it was about safety." I stood up. "Oh, that's rich. Safety, you lied. You hid this from me. You spiritualized cheating and called it awakening." Tears welled in her eyes. "I didn't know how to talk to you anymore. Every time I tried, you shut down. I needed someone to see me. And you didn't think your husband deserved to be part of that process." Rael stood now, too. He wasn't threatening. He didn't have to be. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "our partners are the very walls that keep us from becoming ourselves." I stared at him, this stranger in linen, this man who'd been inside my wife, who spoke like a prophet while he dismantled other people's lives. I wanted to hit him. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. Instead, I looked back at Alina, my Alina, except she was not anymore. She was someone else now. Maybe someone freer, but she was mine. "I'm leaving," I said, her eyes widened. "You're just walking away," she whispered. "No," I said, voice cracking. "You did that months ago. I'm just catching up." I walked out of the circle, out of the retreat, into the night. The stars above didn't care. The wind didn't care. For the first time in years, I realized maybe I shouldn't either. The drive home was silent. No music, no podcasts, just the rhythmic hum of the tires and the occasional crack of gravel under the wheels. My hands gripped the steering wheel like it was the last thing tethering me to the present. The world outside blurred past, pine trees, moonlight, fragments of my old life falling behind me 1 mile at a time. When I pulled into the driveway, the house looked different, hollow, like the soul had already packed up and left. Her shoes weren't on the mat, her keys weren't on the hook. The place still smelled like the incense she loved, sandalwood, jasmine, but now it just made my stomach turn. I stood in the doorway, staring at the framed wedding photo on the wall. Alina in her barefooted lace dress, laughing, wild-eyed. Me beside her, beaming, arm wrapped around her waist like I was holding the whole future in my palm. I walked past it. The first thing I did was delete the video. Not because I wanted to forgive her, not because I was ready to let go, but because I couldn't keep replaying my humiliation like a ritual of self-destruction. The second thing I did was call my mother. It was late, but she answered on the second ring, that worried mom tone instantly kicking in. "David, what's wrong?" And for the first time in weeks, I let myself speak freely. "She cheated on me," I said. "She says it wasn't cheating. She says it was spiritual." My mother was silent for a beat. Then she exhaled like she'd been holding it for years. "That girl's been chasing something since the day you met her. You thought you could be her anchor, but David, some people don't want to be saved. They want to drown beautifully." I closed my eyes. She made me feel like I was the one failing, like I was the reason she needed someone else. She made herself believe that, my mother said. That's how they do it. They rewrite the story to protect their guilt, and sometimes they convince you to hold the pen. That conversation, simple as it was, started a fire in me. The next morning, I packed a bag. I didn't leave a note. I didn't owe her that. Let her come home to the silence she gave me. I checked into a short-term rental across town. Small place, blank walls, no history. It was perfect. For the first time in 6 years, I didn't wake up wondering how to make someone else happy. I woke up wondering what the hell I wanted, and I didn't have an answer. That's when the messages started, first from her, then from mutual friends, then from Rael. Alina's was predictably poetic. "I feel you've stepped into your masculine truth. This rupture is painful but necessary. I still love you. Please don't weaponize this against us." I didn't respond. Rael's was more insidious. "Brother, I know you're hurting. I've seen men break through deeper shadows than this. If you're ready, I'm holding space for your transformation." I wanted to laugh or throw the phone, or both, but instead I did something else. I replied, "You manipulated my wife while pretending to be her healer. You used sacred language to justify betrayal. That makes you worse than a liar. You're a coward wrapped in robes." He never responded. 3 days later, I got served. It was a letter from Alina's lawyer. She wanted a conscious uncoupling. Said we'd both grown into different vibrations. Said she hoped we could part with peace and respect. But the attachments told another story. She wanted the house. She wanted spousal support. She wanted half of everything, even though she hadn't worked in almost 2 years. I brought the letter to my attorney, a tall, no-nonsense woman named Shauna, who read through the pages with a face like granite. "She's trying to burn the bridge and charge you a toll to cross it," she said. Shauna was the first person who looked me in the eye and didn't treat my pain like a spiritual growth opportunity. "You want revenge?" She asked. "No," I said. "I want freedom, but if she wants a war, I won't lay down for it." And so began the battle. The mediation table was colder than I expected, both physically and emotionally. Elena sat across from me, draped in earth tones, her long curls falling over one shoulder like a veil. Her lawyer, a sleek woman with a smile that could cut glass, sat to her right. My attorney, Shauna, matched her energy with a quiet ferocity. And me, I was just trying to keep my hands from shaking. We hadn't spoken in person since the night of the retreat. And even now, with legal documents and silent fury between us, she looked at me like she was mourning someone already dead. "I want the house," Elena said calmly, before anyone else could speak. Shauna didn't even flinch. "That's not going to happen. My client paid for 84% of the mortgage. Your name isn't even on the deed." Elena blinked. "But it's asterisk home. I built that space." I nearly laughed. "You mean the space where you lit candles and F \\\\\, Ed your spiritual guide, while I worked overtime to cover the bills?" I said, voice low, sharp. Her lawyer opened her mouth to object, but Shauna raised a hand. "Don't," she said. "You don't get to play moral referee when your client is trying to financially gut her husband after emotionally abandoning him." Elena's composure cracked just slightly. "I didn't cheat," she snapped. I leaned forward. "Then what do you call it? Enlightenment with orgasmic side effects." Shauna pressed her foot gently against mine under the table. A reminder. "Stay sharp, don't let anger burn your strategy." So I leaned back, folded my hands, and stayed quiet while she squirmed. In the end, we reached a compromise. She could take her business assets and whatever was in her separate account, which wasn't much. I kept the house, no spousal support. We split the savings. Even that felt too generous, but I wanted it done, clean, severed. As we left the building, she stopped me in the parking lot. "David," her voice was small again, the voice she used to use when she curled up beside me on cold mornings. "I really did love you." I turned to her, looked hard, and for a moment the memories came flooding back. The way she used to run her fingers through my hair when I was falling asleep, the way she danced barefoot in the kitchen, the way she used to trace circles on my chest while we planned our future. And then I remembered that email. "Maybe you did," I said, "but you loved *you more, and maybe that's the only love you ever really had to give." She flinched. I walked away. Weeks passed. I got my own therapist. Started rebuilding from scratch. I moved the furniture around, tossed out the sheets we used to share, burned the old sage sticks I found stuffed in her drawer. I let the silence be awkward, then peaceful, then mine. People started reaching out. Friends, family, even her friends, especially her friends. One of them, Tara, met me for coffee. "You were never the problem," she said. "We all knew something was off." Rail's been blurring lines with half the women in that circle. I frowned. "What do you mean?" She leaned in. She wasn't the first. There was another woman, Tina. She had a full breakdown after Rail activated her too, lost her job. Ended up on meds. Her husband tried to sue him for emotional coercion, but dropped it after she defended Rail in court. The pieces clicked into place. He was a predator. A spiritual narcissist cloaked in vulnerability and incense. Elena had just been another chapter in his collection, and suddenly my grief felt different, less personal, less like a unique betrayal and more like a cautionary tale. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I wrote my own post, not on Reddit. On a private blog I started anonymously, for men like me. Men who'd been told they were emotionally unavailable, while their partners spiritualized infidelity. Men who'd been gaslit by therapists with chakras instead of credentials. Men who needed to hear that feeling angry wasn't a failure of masculinity, but often a sign they'd been robbed of something sacred. I titled my first post, "I was cold, I was being frozen out." It got picked up, shared, commented on. Quietly, a community began to form, not an angry mob, not a revenge fantasy circle. Just men and women alike trying to make sense of the wreckage left by relationships that claimed to be conscious while bleeding them dry. Months later, I got one last message from her. "I read what you wrote. I didn't know you were in that much pain." I didn't respond because I wasn't in pain anymore. I was free. I didn't hear from her after that final message. No missed calls, no surprise appearances, no more emails wrapped in incense and shame. Just silence, and it was the most respectful thing she'd given me in over a year. My life began reshaping itself in quiet, unexpected ways. I started cooking again, not for anyone else, not for some date night fantasy, but for me. I played records I hadn't touched since college. I got back into photography. The camera felt heavy in my hands, but the way it forced me to frame the world again, to see intentionally was healing in a way no guided breathwork ever had been. Then came the letters. Dozens of them, some digital, some handwritten, from men across the country who'd read my blog. A few women too. Their stories echoed mine like distant thunder. My wife found her twin flame during an ayahuasca retreat. My girlfriend started calling me toxic because I didn't believe in energy clearing. My partner said monogamy was a colonial mindset after she slept with her Reiki instructor. Each story different, each wound eerily familiar. And over time, I realized something that shook me. This wasn't about Alina, or Rael, or any one person. It was about a culture that wrapped manipulation in spiritual language and called it growth. I was collateral damage in someone else's self-discovery arc, the plot twist in her heroine's journey, and yet somehow I'd been the one left to sift through the ashes. But I wasn't a victim anymore. I was the witness. One day I got a message from Tara again, Alina's old friend. "You need to see this," she wrote and linked a video. I hesitated, but curiosity overrode caution. It was footage from another retreat. Posted by one of the attendees, Rael was sitting cross-legged, leading another group of wide-eyed seekers through a partnered surrender ceremony. This time, he was guiding a woman I didn't recognize, young, tearful, trembling under the weight of some unspoken trauma. His words were familiar, too familiar. "Let it go. Let the shame dissolve through your hips. You're safe here. Let the divine masculine hold your pain." My chest tightened, not because it hurt anymore, but because I saw the cycle, the performance. The well-rehearsed lines used to strip people bare and make them believe it was liberation. I closed the tab. This wasn't my burden anymore, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something needed to be done, so I wrote a second post. A deeper one, a breakdown of the language predators use when cloaked in healing roles. I didn't name names, but I painted the picture so vividly that anyone who'd lived it would know exactly what I meant. It went viral. People came forward, women, men, former facilitators, even a few spiritual professionals who were fed up with the industry's lack of accountability. There were whispers of lawsuits, investigations, retreats being quietly shut down. I didn't celebrate, not exactly, but I slept deeper that night than I had in years. Then one afternoon, I got a knock on the door. A man, maybe late 30s, jeans, flannel, haunted eyes, stood holding a printed copy of my post. I didn't recognize him. "You David?" he asked, voice rough. I nodded. He looked down, swallowed. "My wife. She left after a tantra retreat with that same guy, took our kids, said I was too emotionally rigid." He looked up, eyes glassy. "Reading what you wrote, it was like hearing someone finally say what I couldn't." I invited him in, made coffee. We talked for hours. And just like that, the blog wasn't just a blog anymore. It became a network, a quiet revolution. Not against spirituality, but against spiritual asterisk abuse. A space where accountability lived next to compassion, where real healing wasn't bought with candles and curated trauma, it was earned through truth. I never saw Alina again. I heard she moved to Oregon, started her own Women's Awakening Collective. Some part of me hoped she'd finally found what she was looking for. Another part wasn't so sure she ever would, but me. I started over, not perfectly, not painlessly, but honestly, and sometimes that's enough.